The rain hit the windshield in erratic bursts, smearing the reflection of streetlights into liquid gold streaks. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. The last words my husband, ex-husband, had said replayed like broken glass in my head. "Take your things and go, Sophia. I'm not your charity project anymore." The sound of the front door slamming behind me was the punctuation mark on 12 years of my life. I didn't realize then that the house I left would sell within weeks, that the bank account we shared was emptied the same day, or that my fresh start would begin in the backseat of my car. Now, 3 months later, I lived parked behind a 24-hour diner on the edge of Seattle. My breath fogged the window as I sipped cheap coffee, trying to stay awake in the damp cold. The rain had a smell metal and mildew that clung to my clothes like shame. Every night, I scrolled through photos I couldn't delete. Our wedding day, sunlit, perfect. His arm around my waist. His eyes looking at me like I was a secret he was proud to keep. But somewhere along the line that gaze shifted, detached, distracted, always darting toward his phone. First, I told myself it was work. That's what love does. It rationalizes what it fears. But the signs were everywhere. Hushed calls in the bathroom, the faint scent of perfume that wasn't mine. His sudden interest in night runs he never came back sweaty from. The betrayal when I discovered it wasn't cinematic. It was quiet. I found an email, plain text, no emojis, no apologies. Just her. "She won't know. You deserve better. I'll wait." He'd labeled the folder invoices. I remember confronting him in the kitchen, voice trembling, heart roaring in my chest. "How long, Daniel?" He didn't even flinch. "Does it matter now?" The simplicity of his answer was worse than the affair itself. It wasn't just that he loved someone else. It was that he no longer even cared enough to lie. I left that night with a suitcase and half a tank of gas, thinking I'd find a way. I didn't. It was raining again the morning everything changed. I was sitting on the curb outside the diner, hood pulled up, cardboard coffee cup cooling in my hands. The barista, a kind college kid, had slipped me a muffin on the house. It was blueberry, my favorite. I was halfway through it when a sleek black car slowed near the curb. I looked away instinctively, assuming they were lost. But the window rolled down. "Excuse me," a man called. His voice was steady, formal, like someone used to being obeyed. "Are you Sophia Reynolds?" My stomach tightened. "Who's asking?" He stepped out, tall, maybe mid-40s, wearing a dark coat that probably cost more than my old rent. Rain beaded off his shoulders. He held a manila envelope. "I've been looking for you. My name is Michael Turner. I'm an attorney." I laughed bitterly. "I don't need a lawyer. I can't even afford lunch." His expression didn't change. "I think you might want to hear this. You're listed as the sole heir to the estate of Evelyn Harcourt." The name meant nothing to me. I frowned. "I don't know any Evelyn Harcourt." Michael studied me quietly, then handed me a document. My name, Sophia Marie Reynolds, was typed neatly across the top. Beneath it, bequeath sum, $47 million. I felt dizzy. There's got to be a mistake." He shook his head. "Miss Harcourt was your biological mother." The world tilted. I could hear the rain but not feel it, see his lips move but not make sense of the words. "My what?" He nodded gently. "You were adopted at birth. She spent her life searching for you." The taste of blueberry and coffee turned sour in my mouth. My entire existence, every story my adoptive parents told, every photograph, every bedtime lie, collapsed in a single sentence. I followed him numbly to the car. The seats were soft leather that smelled faintly of cedar. The contrast between my damp coat and the polished interior felt obscene. "Why now?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Why didn't she find me sooner?" "She passed away 6 months ago," he said quietly. "Her last letter was addressed to you." He handed me a sealed envelope. My fingers shook as I tore it open. "My dearest Sophia, if you're reading this, I've already gone. I never stopped searching for you. Not a day passed that I didn't wonder if you were safe, if you were loved. I'm leaving you what I built. Not for the money but for freedom. So you'll never have to beg for kindness the way I once did. Your mother, Evelyn." Tears blurred the ink. I pressed the letter to my chest, unable to breathe. Later, in Michael's office, I stared at the legal papers, feeling like an imposter in someone else's miracle. The betrayal of my husband felt small next to this revelation, but it echoed the same wound. People I trusted had chosen lies over truth. Do you want to claim the inheritance? He asked gently. I hesitated. Why me? I didn't even know her. Because she knew you, he said. And she believed you deserved more than what the world gave you. Something inside me broke then, not from pain but release. I signed the papers with a trembling hand. Months later, I stood on a balcony overlooking the city skyline. My hair was freshly cut, my clothes new but simple. I'd bought an old community shelter and turned it into a women's recovery center. The kind of place I needed once. But I never forgot the rain. The diner. The look on Daniel's face when I left with nothing. He tried to call, months after the inheritance made headlines. I let it ring. Then I blocked the number. Because sometimes revenge isn't about rage, it's about resurrection. And as I watched the sunrise turn the clouds gold, I whispered to the wind, I forgive you, Daniel, but I'll never forget. The rain began to fall again, but this time it felt like grace.